prove if a story from history is true or false. When it comes to women soldiers in the Civil War, this can be a really difficult proposition because the documentation is kind of all over the place. And in the case of Civil War soldier Frances Clayton, alias Jack Williams, folks have a lot of opinions. Hi, I'm JR. I'm the director of the Reenactors documentary, and I'm coming at you for the first installment of Keeping the Hysteria in American History, inspired by Women's History Month and Executive Order 14253, Restoring Truth and Sanity to American History. Now, it seemed fitting that the first soldier we would talk about in this series is Frances Clayton, because she is the first person that people usually see when they start digging into this topic. In fact, Frances Clayton's photo is on the cover of the research book about this topic, They Fought Like Demons, by Deanne Blanton and Lauren M. Cook. This, among other reasons, like our mutual origins in Minnesota, is why I chose to portray Mrs. Clayton. Sources from the 1860s, mostly consisting of newspaper articles, say different things about her, but most seem to agree that she enlisted alongside her husband in a Missouri regiment to prevent them from being recognized by someone else from Minnesota. Some reporters wrote that her husband was killed at the Battle of Shiloh, and other people say it was Fort Donelson, or maybe Stones River, essentially some battle in Tennessee. However, the units listed for her service, the 4th Missouri Heavy Artillery, and the 13th Missouri Cavalry, weren't in any of those battles. So what's the truth? What we do know for sure is that Frances Clayton became famous across the country after posing for this photo in the same photo studio where this picture of Edgar Allan Poe was also taken. The photos of Frances were sold throughout the country as carte de visite. It's essentially a French word for Civil War trading cards. And Frances's outlandish story, whether genuine, embellished, or completely fabricated, became the basis for other women to fight for women's rights, including voting, having jobs, and also serving in combat. We can also observe that both Frances and I have lovely high cheekbones, and we like to dress in men's clothing. Whether hers was a case of real bravery or stolen valor, her images still represent the idea that women did serve in the military since the founding of our nation, almost like an American Mulan. What hysterical history will you help us preserve in the next episode of Keeping the Hysteria in American History?